Good for you. Thank you.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. I'm Donna Reed with Up with People Cast 76A, and most of you know that by now if you're watching. And I am here in the Cactus Lounge, which is my office in Tucson. And I'm super excited because today we have someone I consider really special. Steve Colwell is with us today. So, hi, Steve.
Hi, Donna.
Um,
Hi.
Steve, tell us, this interview I mentioned is going to be a little different because to just say, oh, when did you travel? That's kind of a different story.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you tell everybody kind of where you live now and what
Mm-hmm.
you're doing right now?
Okay. Well, Donna, thank you for having me. It's fun to, I've stayed connected with the alumni and Up with People as I can. As many of people may be seeing this, I've been at reunions over the years, and have so I'm very proud of the history and the background that I've been so lucky to be part of. And so anyway, so thank you. So I live in Redmond, Washington, which is the Microsoft capital of the world.
Oh,
And Bill Gates and I are, I see him all the time around, and we have coffee. No,
seriously?
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No, but anyway, but we in this area, if you are in a group of people, you don't know them, and everybody says, "Well, what do you do?"
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, they work at Microsoft or at least in the tech business. It's very this, and so Redmond is the Seattle area,
Yep.
and my wife Lynn and I moved up here about, oh gosh, let's see, 2015 from, no, sorry, 2010, because two of our kids moved here.
Okay.
And so we were living in North Idaho, having moved from Tucson, my beloved city forever. And that's where our three kids were all born and raised. And anyway, then when the last one left the nest, Lynn and I moved to North Idaho. And then two of our kids moved to Seattle, and they started having babies. And so guess what? So we moved to Seattle and the
To be
area.
close to some grandkids, huh?
Yeah. And so here we are. I'm retired, as you obviously know and guess, but I kind of feel like I'm refired as well because I still have an interest, and I will say a passion to make things better in the world, and reach out in as I can in a limited way, but I retired, and you want to know about Lynn, or is that what
Yeah.
you?
So tell me, yeah, I have asked whether or not people met their spouses
Mm-hmm.
while in Up with People, and I don't know where you and Lynn met. Just be
Mm-hmm.
interesting to know.
I thought the whole world knew, but no, no. Okay, Donna. So we met in Up with People.
Okay.
And I'm proud to say, the history of couples meeting and marrying and Up with People is mixed in terms of staying together and all that. But we're 53 years,
Oh, that's exciting.
and so I was staff. We were in the mid 60s, and Lynn was came in as a cast member in 1966. She's a college graduate, and saw a show when we were in Florida the year before, and said to her parents, "This is what I am. This is who I am, and I need to go with them."
Wow.
So she rushed the finishing of her college courses at Rollins College in Florida, uh, through summer school in LA, and worked at Pace Magazine for a while,
Oh gosh.
the Up With People MRA organ. And
Wasn't Julio Grecki, was he one of the writers or publishers for Pace?
he was involved, I believe. Yes, he
Yeah.
was. Yes. Yeah. And so anyway, so Lynn was a cast member, and so it's a kind of an interesting story, a little bit long, and I don't know.
Okay, we won't tell the whole story then because I have other questions, but
Yeah. Okay. But anyway, so we I did not. I follow the rules. I want you to know, everybody. I did not date. I did not. We never talked. We talked in terms of the show and and what we were doing. And I surreptitiously got her on an interview that I was involved in a couple of times, just because I wanted to have her around. But anyway, she was a standout. I mean, she was very special. She did some solo work and some PR. But anyway, she ended up in 1968. She was working in Belgium and PR. And Ralph and Debbie had just gotten married on May 18th,
oh, it's
today, as a matter of fact.
yeah.
And I just talked to Debbie, by the way, and she's doing fine, and just yeah. Anyway, so the day after they were married, I was walking by the bridesmaids, where the bride throws the flowers over her shoulder to the group. And I happened to be walking by, and she threw it too far, and it just landed in my hands.
Ooh.
And so that is a signal that I'm supposed to get married next. So not for that reason. That's kind of humorous. But the next day, I phoned her in Belgium and invited her to marry me. And she, so it's a completely new thought to her, but she then came back. She was in Italy then after that, and came back finally, and we had a date. And she said, okay, on an engagement only. And so about 5 or 6 months later, we were traveling with a cast in Lima, Peru, walking in a park, and she said, well, I've thought about it, and yes. So we were married in January of '69, just after being on the in the inaugural parade for the president in Washington, D.C.
Wow.
And that was Nixon, I think.
Wow.
And anyway, that's kind of a brief story.
No, but that's so fun. I was going to give you a hard time about a staff member dating a cast member, but
Well, I didn't.
I know. And Steve, the youngsters that if we get the kids that traveled in the last 10 years or so, that's all very different,
I know it is.
but I
know it
can't
is.
tell you the number. I just remind me to tell you about Tim and Charlotte Lane and
Okay.
and how they lied to me in Mexico. So if Tim watches this,
Okay.
I'll make sure that he knows.
All right. All right. Okay.
So Steve, I know that you continue to do music, and I know that you do art and that your wife does art, but I want to ask you, so that I'm sure that we get to this piece of it. You guys wrote music, played music for years and years and years and years with Up With People. Really, devoted your life. As you think of it today, is there one or two songs that like always come back to you, and or do world events make certain songs come back to you? Is there something?
Yeah. Well, I think I'm like a majority of of alumni, if the favorite song, the Moonrider, has to be, I mean, that's just common. And I think of that only in terms of the world we live in and space and frontiers, how we have to find ways to bridge our gulf and work on that aspect, especially here in this country. But
Yeah.
but that song. But I'll just tell you one kind of little interesting thing. When we were in the Congo and during independence celebrations of that country in 1960. And we and mainly Paul, and I think Ralph too, wrote a song called "Vive le Congo," which is French for "Long Live the Congo," and it became a theme song. We stayed there for a year and a half during all the problems they had there, and then came back for another several months in '62. But that song was played on the radio constantly. It saved us a couple of times when we were traveling and the Congolese roadblocks were set up, and they didn't like Belgians or UN, and we had to get through the roadblocks. So twice that we had to take our instruments out of the car and sing just a little bit of that song to prove who we were. And then they knew the song, so then they let us go. So, but anyway, the reason I mentioned that song is because when we were in the Congo, we just had our instruments that we normally use: bass, guitar, mandolin, and that was how we did it. Later, we developed it with other instruments, but we never felt, and this is Paul's mainly, but we never felt had the real Congolese feel in the song. So just recently, we've been approaching Congolese people that live here in Seattle who are producers and who are talented in music to help us to redo the song. So I mean that's just, it's a song we've done in concerts quite a bit, just as part of our international medley of songs.
So I know the rhythm and I speak French, but I've never known all the words because I've never seen them written. So I've done the Congo,
That's it. That's it.
but I don't know the words. So
Au cœur de l'Afrique, pays magnifique, pays. I never sang the verses, and I can't.
Ralph sang it, didn't he?
But Ralph sang the verses, and
That's fascinating.
yeah. So yeah, it's just one of those things.
It's a great story, and
yeah.
and when when I interviewed Ron the other day, and he talked about doing 3 cities in one day with 20 cast members and flying between cities. No matter how much we think we know, there's so much we don't know. Because we all have our individual stories. So I had no idea that you were in the Congo that long. I knew that the song became, kind of a national anthem thing. And for me, when I talk to Mexicans, 30-year-olds who don't really know Viva la Gente, but they maybe heard De Que Color Es La Piel de
Yeah.
So you realize how some of those songs have stuck around for generations now, even if they don't know where they came from.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Well, it's interesting the number of times over the years where I've run into somebody who his subject comes up of what you did, and I say, or what do you? They see a bag I have that has Up With People on it, and they say, well, what is that? And I say what it is, and they say, well, they haven't ever heard of it. They don't know it. But then they say, wait a minute, there was a song, and it goes like this: Up with People, yeah. And so they don't really know the organization, but the song is is known in any ways.
Yeah.
Well, maybe they learned in school or something. I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's true. And
That's,
the number of music teachers that have now taught some of the songs through the years is kind of fascinating.
yeah.
So I talked with you briefly about the nonprofit for Up With People alumni, and right now I can't even think of the name of it. What's it called?
That's okay. Reach Out Alumni Assistance Network. That's ROAA. Wait a minute. Reach Out Alumni AA. It's an N. Rowan, or we call it Reach Out, but our it doesn't matter.
No, okay, no. That's
Reach Out. And Reach Out. I'm honored to be on the board of Reach Out. Zan Diener is the president of it, and anyway, it's an organization that's been it is its own nonprofit affiliated with the alumni,
okay.
and but it's been going since about 2008 or 9, and its purpose is to help alumni who need help. I mean, who have fallen on hard times, and then it could be it could be due to all sorts of things, health issues, or job issues, or family issues, or whatever. But it could be anything from homelessness, or just they're down and out, and they don't, and so that's we raise money in order to help them, and it's really more of a financial help, although we do have social help as well, meaning we have people connected to us who know about social services that can help that person in the city that they're in.
You know what, that in itself is a thing, because I believe I'm getting some feedback. I don't know if it's on your end or my end, but I believe that we don't know what we don't know about nonprofits and about organizations until we need it, right? And then even then, sometimes you're in distress and you don't even have the brain capacity to go search and learn and stuff. So I know that Zan has set up at reunion after reunion after reunion. So I think that, and I doubt that many of the young people know about the organization. And so I think it's great that you remind people and bring it up. So
yeah, and and I know for some people they're hesitant to apply because you do have to apply, meaning you have to fill out a form, and they're embarrassed, or they think, well, this will pass. But anyway, we want everyone to know in the Up With People world that it's available, and so please let us know, or just talk to us if you have questions about it or anything. But
years ago, I went through a couple of years in life where I call it my country western song piece of life, where nothing seemed to be going right. And I had to, my office has a system similar to that. And one month they paid my rent. And
who paid it?
Keller Williams, the company.
They paid it. Okay.
Yeah. And I didn't even think about the organization, but it is very humbling to ask for money.
It is.
It is also then makes me feel super happy that I'm in a place where I can now give. Right? Because often those are just moments in time, right?
Yeah.
We hope, and that we can move forward from there. So that's neat.
Yeah. And it is completely confidential. That's a big deal with
and
this.
Like it's blasted out there that we just gave money to this person for.
Yeah, I mean, if they want to talk to somebody, it's kept quiet and nobody knows. If you want to fill out the application, it just stays with the committee.
Yeah.
Who decide, or really the board will have to decide. But that's as far as it goes. So
good. Okay, so Will you, I know you guys, or I'm assuming you're all going to be at the rendezvous in Chicago. Are you guys coming down for any of the reunion stuff in Phoenix this summer or?
Yes, we are.
Okay,
We meaning
you and Paul?
the Paul and I are coming,
Okay,
and I don't know about Ted. I think he's been traveling, so I don't know about him,
what he'll do.
but he's been invited.
Okay, okay.
So
I
yeah,
I
looking forward
normally
to it.
work at it, but I leave for Europe on the Tuesday after, so I'm just gonna come up for Saturday, but I hope I get to see you guys on Saturday
Okay, yeah, that'll be great, Donna.
when I
Yeah,
come up. So,
yeah,
um, behind you is an easel. I don't know if that's your easel or
it
Lynn's
is.
easel
It is.
or whatever.
It
So,
is.
did you paint? Have you always done art beyond music, a different kind of art?
I have not. I have not. I don't know how many years ago, maybe as much as 20. I don't know. Uh, just, the thought came to me, you can take a picture with a camera, but how could you make that picture better? How could you enhance it? So
Ah,
that was my first thought. And so that started me on a road to getting into painting. I do landscapes. I don't do people really. Lynn does faces, portraits,
I've seen some of those.
and to be honest, Donna, it's there's periods of time. In fact, it has been this last year that I don't do any, but I always do a Christmas card.
Oh, nice.
I don't know if you ever seen one, but
You sent me one year after
I may have.
after Woods and you and I sat and talked about art at one of the
Okay.
reunions in Tucson. I
Okay.
think that
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, just to be in touch with people, and instead of a car, just a store bought card, and also a card that has the meaning of Christmas, and not besides a Santa Claus. So
Santa Claus.
yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah. So that. But anyway, I just did a little something for. I enjoy doing things for people, and did a little painting for Corey, my daughter, who we were in Hawaii about a month ago, or some weeks ago, with her family, and with my youngest son's family, and so I did a kind of a beach scene, a wave, and
Oh,
which
fun.
I gave to her, but so I don't have it here to
Yeah.
show you, but
So look behind you. That's one of my, no, I'm sorry, behind me. That's one of mine on the wall. That's
neat, neat.
yeah, there had been a great big painting there, like that took up the whole wall, and then people rearranged offices, and I thought I got to put something there. So I think that's kind of like the Tucson Mountains kind of
Yeah, it
area.
has a real
Yeah,
Tucson area. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Well,
good for you. I
I
like it.
I sell just enough, Steve, to buy more paint, and and what you find
Well,
is what sells is where you live. So where you live right now, if you were going to sell it, it'd probably be boats and water and
hmm
things
yeah,
like
yeah. Well,
up
yeah.
that way.
I don't. My purpose is not, of course, to sell it. I have sold a few.
Yeah, yeah.
There
When
was
you
a
donated, you said you don't do people, but do you remember the year you donated to the silent auction, like the
yes,
dancers?
I do.
one? That was a
I
neat
do.
painting.
I
Yeah,
do.
yeah.
Yeah, one time, and a alum from the old days visited our house, and I had a largest painting, maybe one of the anyway up on the wall, and he said he didn't know I painted, but he said, "Oh, I really like that picture. I mean that painting. Can who's did anyway?" It turns out Lynn told us, I said that I did it, and said, "Oh, well, can I buy it?" So he said he would pay. I think it was $500 for it. So sure, you can sure that'd be fine. So anyway, he lived in another state and he left, and so then my job was to mail it to him. And I don't know if you've tried to mail a large painting, but it costs
A
like
fortune.
$300, $350. So I got 500, but
Oh,
so my
yeah,
net profit is about $100. So anyway,
that's funny.
anyway,
So my computer just told me that I've got less than 10 minutes.
okay.
I don't, this might be a super hard question. You know, I've tried to do these ones at the end with everybody. Is there a favorite place that you've been that you would love to go back to, Steve?
Well, we have in fact been back to Italy a couple of times, and my wife is learning Italian and can speak it fairly well, and I can get by in it. So Italy has to be right at the top of the list. I think
Nice.
Japan would be right at the next. I think we have worked there. I mean, well, in the old days, we worked there for a while, and then we've had several times there, either as a vacation or, well, only once as a vacation, really, and other times up with people. But
Nice.
yeah,
Nice.
so do you know that
Italy's a popular spot. I don't remember whether Zoe said Italy or Ron said it. A couple people have said Italy.
Mhm. Yeah,
Popular place. So,
yeah.
yeah.
I'm not going to tell the story, but because of time, but I'll just say that I am responsible for the Crown Prince of Japan marrying the princess, not the one that retired, just retired, and
Really?
I am responsible
You
because of
introduced them?
not personally, but I was in a tennis tournament and in a mixed doubles tennis tournament in Japan, and because it's just on a vacation type thing, and because I lost to my partner, and I lost. The next round came up where the princess was playing against the soon to be, I mean, the prince, and that's how they met. And there's actually an article of it's been written up about that. Anyway, so because we lost, they met. So I think I have some responsibility.
That is a great story.
Yeah. Anyway.
That's neat. So I'm gonna end it here pretty quickly. Is there any last thing that you think would be wonderful to say in a couple of minutes to the alumni that are listening or watching and that you just would like to share?
Yes, there is. My feeling for forever has been if I could say what the Up with People show does, and that's the show, but I think it also applies to the people in it. What they do is give hope, and this world needs hope. Our country needs it. Hope. We never want to give up on the concept, and hope can be, for me it's a faith issue as well, but we won't get into that, but it's also an issue of simply not giving up on the possibility of us healing our wounds from the past, our divisions that have come up in more recent years, and so
Is that at the end of your emails, isn't it?
well, yes, there is. Yes, there is. That's correct. There is about hope. That hope. My anchor is hope, so storms will never sink my ship, or something like that.
I love that.
Yeah. So my message is hang in there, everybody, and keep that hope alive in all that you do in your work, in your schools, and everywhere.
Awesome.
Amen.
All righty. Amen. I am going to stop the recording. We have a couple more minutes. I'll talk to you for just a couple minutes after I stop the recording. Thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you in Phoenix.
Thank you, Donna, very much.